Did you subscribe? It helps when you subscribe. Please subscribe. Enjoy the video.
I'm hungry, but I'm too busy to cook, and nobody's cooking for me, so I guess I'll just die. Sound familiar? Listen, hungry friend, you deserve a meal, and a good meal. But I have good news. You're in the year 2024, which means Factor is a thing. And it's here to satiate your monster appetite by shipping you a wide array of ready-to-eat, chef-prepared meals on your table in 2 minutes! No prepping, no cooking, no cleaning. You get gourmet meals that you choose because you need to eat, alright? Feed yourself! Get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. Look at me plate this meal. I know what I'm doing. I've watched The Bear. And it's not just meals anymore. Factor's got snacks, smoothies, juices, small bites, breakfast. You don't have to plan anything. You don't have to think. Just eat. People like me really could use Factor. There's just no time in my life to cook, so I wind up eating garbage or overpaying for all these deliveries. Factor saves me money, and I still get restaurant quality gourmet food. Food I picked from their huge selection. My tummy's happy, my wallet's happy, my mom is happy, your mom is happy. Get your discount. Go ahead, it's right there. Get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring this video. Now let's look at some Godzilla reaction figures. Playtime! Yay! Somewhere along the lines, I got really sucked into collecting Super7's Godzilla reaction figures. So I thought today I'd show you what I got, while also listing every release available as of this video. At the rate these things are released, there is no doubt this video will be outdated almost immediately. Yep, there it is. New wave announced. There it is. Slow down! For those of you who don't know, reaction figures are made to look like the basic action figures of yesteryear. Small, minimal articulation, usually bubble on card. Super7 takes this nostalgic figure template and applies it to all sorts of properties past and present. And it blew up! So now every property ever is getting a reaction figure. Let's take a look at the big G. We're starting near the beginning, the Maru-san Godzilla from the late 1960s. It's considered the first Godzilla soft vinyl toy, and Super7 pays tribute with the Maru-san Godzilla reaction figure. This is pretty much a one-for-one recreation, an excellent note to begin on. I like that the bottom of the foot has this logo here. Almost all the figures I show you today will have articulation similar to this, in the arms, the legs, the tails in many cases. The head's usually turned, but this guy's doesn't. And you wouldn't expect him to, given the source material. What I've been showing you is the J-tail version of this toy, but there is an L-tail version as well. Down the road there would be this guy. This is a green and silver variant, and this one is currently available only as an L-tail. I don't have this one, but there is also a Maru-san Godzilla J-tail glowing variant. I love that there are reaction figures based on classic soft vinyls. And this is why I love the Godzilla reaction line so much. It's not just about Godzilla movies. Super7 pays tribute to the pop culture history of Godzilla, and you're gonna see a lot of that today. So let's get to Wave 1, released June 2022. It features the original 1954 Godzilla. Here he is. This is the first Godzilla as a reaction figure. But the wild card in this wave was the inclusion of this guy, Godzilla 1957. This is an homage to an unmade American film, The Volcano Monsters. You might also hear this guy referenced as 1957 Gigantus. When they put this deep cut in Wave 1, I knew we were gonna see some great releases in this series. For some reason though, Mechagodzilla is my favorite in this wave. It's well detailed, it looks really nice. Something about it's making me nostalgic for like the old Star Wars toys or something from the 80s. Jet Jaguar translates best to the most traditional reaction template for obvious reasons. I'm glad he was in the first wave, and you'll see that this line is going to give Jet a lot of love. Here comes Rodan! Rodan's obviously way wider than the other guys with his large wings, and they actually do have flat motion, which is great. My only gripe with this guy is getting him to stand. Everything has to be exactly right. The feet, the wings, all of it. Don't love making him stand, otherwise love the figure. And here's Mothra, another winged monster, and the only one here who lays out instead of stands tall. She's got some flapping motion too, and she comes with a Mothra egg. Accessories are rare for the Godzilla reaction, so Mothra's gonna be an exception. Everybody has a glowing variant thanks to con exclusives. At the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con, you can get glowing Godzilla 54, glowing Jet Jaguar, and glowing Mechagodzilla. And at New York Comic-Con, you can get glowing Rodan and glowing Mothra. And those I have here. Another 2022 New York Comic-Con exclusive was the silver screen Godzilla 54, which I was kinda confused by because it's like just a shade darker than the other Godzilla 54. But he's got a rad accessory, an oxygen destroyer, the only thing that could kill him. Thankfully it's not activated. Soon after, we'd get the American poster version of this figure. I don't have him, but I wish I did. I love American poster repaints. The following year at the 2023 San Diego Comic-Con, there was Godzilla 1954 with Tokyo Train. This one's got the Big G having a snack. Time to return to the main line for Wave 2, and just look at this motley crew. Let's see who we got. When this whole thing was announced, I was dying to see what a reaction Ghidorah would look like, and the bastards pulled it off. Flapping wings, leg articulation, and all three heads can turn. The tails turn too. And thankfully, he looks bigger and more imposing when next to a Godzilla. I always appreciate that. Speaking of Godzilla, we've got the 1962 suit here, which is a fine figure. It's just my least favorite suit, personally. I wonder if one day we'll ever get a King Kong figure. Imagine! Godzilla 1984 is in this wave too. So far, all reactions ever released have been Showa era, and technically Godzilla 1984 was released within the Showa era, even though people like me label it as Heisei for its continuity. So, this is the most recent monster in all Godzilla reactions so far. Mechagodzilla's headed to a toga party. Nah, he's in mid-transformation. What an awesome idea. He's shedding his fake Godzilla exterior to reveal the alien within, and he's metallic this time. Not to jump ahead with these other figures, but it's neat that you can line him up this way now. Gigan is great, he's just sharp. It's like how some SH Monster Art Godzilla toys have so many sharp points, this guy does too. But he's great. Then we got Hidora, the smog monster. Looks good. Not much to say. I do wonder if we'll ever get it in different forms. And that's Wave 2. Now this is Peak Super 7, a reaction figure based on the Shogun Warriors Godzilla from the late 1970s. You know, this guy in the back of all my videos. A landmark Godzilla toy for an entire generation. The first reaction special release had this box to resemble the original Shogun Godzilla box. That's goddamn based! The original toy's got the famous red lever which makes its fire shoot out. Super 7 figured out a way to recreate that effect on a smaller scale, and it is such a nice touch. This is a fantastic reaction figure, one of my favorites so far. This boxed version dropped in July 2021. Later that year, New York Comic-Con would offer this glowing version, which only really glows at the head, hands, and feet, so it looks like it's wearing onesie pajamas. A darker green version of this mold came in November of 2021. April 2022 would deliver this orange version, and look, they even changed the skin color on the box. A much better glow-in-the-dark version of the figure came out in August 2023 as a box lunch exclusive. Wish I had that one. And as I type this, a gold version is available as an exclusive from the Godzilla store. I'm not even done with variants of this mold, but let's take a break and circle back later, because I want to move to the other Shogun Warrior toy tribute, Rodan! I don't have this boxed version. This boxed one is a July 2023 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and the Rodan inside is a darker red color. The version I have is this one that came on card. Ooh, you guys, this one's so good! It's like Shogun Godzilla, it's a perfect tribute. Man, I love this toy. Like the original, its wings can flap, and its beak can open and close like so. And those are the features that mimic the original, which are its most prominent features. It doesn't scale accurately with Godzilla, but you have to understand why. Doing so would double this already huge wingspan. It covers 4 figures. Here's another Jet Jaguar variant. This one is soaring through the skies, and I would say it is meaningfully different from the standard Jet Jaguar. Let's return to the main line once again. Wave 3 features Megalon, Minya, a space titanium version of Mechagodzilla 74, and we have Godzilla 74. Quick comparison of the previous Mechagodzilla release against the Space Titanium version. I like them both for very different reasons. I guess the Space Titanium version edges out the first one for me personally. But they're both just awesome. Godzilla 74 is a very welcome addition for me. This is one of the first versions of Godzilla I was ever introduced to, so I'm so happy to see this release. Minya's here! And yeah, they called him Minya. Quack, quack. Megalon is my favorite from this wave. It is a great mold, a great overall figure. This is the first monster I ever saw Godzilla throw down with, so I've got that nostalgia boner. And at last, we can create a full lineup of Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Back to glow-in-the-dark variants. The July 2023 Comic-Con offered the King Ghidorah glow-in-the-dark version, as well as a glow-in-the-dark version of the Smog Monster.
And Gigan's got a glow-in version too. His is from the October 2023 New York Comic-Con. Also from the 2023 New York Comic-Con, a glowing version of Godzilla 62.
Up until now, glow-in-the-dark versions were not considered part of the mainline waves, but these glow-in-the-dark figures are considered Wave 4. So Wave 4 is entirely reused molds that are glow-in-the-dark exclusives. Godzilla 74 has a glow-in-the-dark version. This was a Godzilla Day 2023 release.
There are also versions of Megalon that glow from Godzilla Day. This and Godzilla 74 glow variant are considered part of Wave 5. It's getting murky! Here are all of my glowing reactions glowing. Godzilla 74 is my favorite. He looks great. Wave 5 proper was released in November 2023, and it had 4 figures. Godzilla 55 Grayscale, Mogira, Baragon, and Anguirus. Mogira is a real standout from this wave. It is a very good toy. Baragon's getting a lot of love too. He's in an upright position, but you can still get that rah! I don't care if that wasn't this Baragon, I'm still gonna rah! Anguirus doesn't do it for me. I can't really pinpoint my issues. Maybe it's the expression or the pose. Just in totality, it just doesn't do it for me personally. I would love a version with a split carapace. Can you imagine how cool that would be? Let's talk about one of my favorite releases, the Skeleton of Godzilla. Look at this little diorama here, recreating the scene in the original Godzilla film. There's Dr. Serizawa about to reduce Godzilla to a skeleton. In fact, this comes with an oxygen destroyer, obviously not made to scale with Godzilla. And what's crazy is it's not the same oxygen destroyer I previously showed you. One is activated and one isn't. The Skeleton Godzilla is awesome. I just put him next to his healthy counterpart for fun here. I love that they made a Skeleton Godzilla. It's so good for what it is. This is another one of my favorites that we've discussed today. This would later be released in standard packaging, and it still comes with the oxygen destroyer, and it's $5 less. Super7 began offering variants of existing molds in blind boxes you could buy at Target, and these are great. They're about $5 less than standard reaction, so about 15 bucks. It's just you don't know who you're gonna get. I mean, you can kind of tell sometimes from the weight. This wave is insane, and I'll show you why, in a very different environment because I recorded this earlier. The first box I opened was Firefighter Jet Jaguar, which is the Jet Jaguar mold, but red. But believe it or not, this is a reference to, of all things, a 1997 Japanese kids show called Godzilla Island. Firefighter Jet Jaguar was a version of Jet Jaguar who lived on the island. There was also a medical Jet Jaguar, and wouldn't you know it, that's the second one I opened. But here's Medical Jet Jaguar from Godzilla Island. I know the Godzilla YouTube channel has been releasing episodes of this show subtitled, but I still consider this a really deep cut. The Godzillas in this series are both 57 molds. One is a silver screen version, which does not feel profoundly different from the mainline series, it's just like a shade darker. And the other is an X-ray glittery version for when he's listening to David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. The final figure in this line is called Mechagodzilla Shadow. It is a black Mechagodzilla, which I love. Quick aside, there was a black Mechagodzilla on Godzilla Island, but this figure doesn't appear to be based on him. The second wave is entirely the Shogun Godzilla figure. I don't have this line, but you can see the variants here. There's an amber glitter version on the left, followed by a classic version, which is just the original release, then an X-ray glitter version, an all-black shadow version, and a Shogun mystery version. The mystery one is a grayscale or silver screen version. The third wave of blind box figures is all silver screen variants. Godzilla 62, another Mechagodzilla, Minya, Gigan, Godzilla 74. I don't have an association with these characters being in black and white, so I wasn't reeled in by this set. As of this video, that's where we are with blind boxes, which means a new wave will drop tomorrow. Super 7 has released some really cool variants of some characters known as toy recolors. The molds we know with color schemes reminiscent of toys from the past. The first is the 1984 Godzilla mold, painted to look like an Imperial Godzilla. For me, the Imperial Godzilla is the Godzilla of my childhood. I'll put it next to the actual toy so you can see. They got the red Joker lips, the gray tummy, the greens and blacks. Man, I wish the mold was an Imperial Godzilla mold, but this is the next best thing. The Gigan toy recolor is based on this Bullmark soft vinyl Gigan, and it's a nice vintage paint job. The third toy recolor is also based on a Bullmark soft vinyl. You can see it's mostly blue with a fade into tan color. I'm much preferring these to the silver screen variants. Recently, this version of Hedorah, called Vintage Toy, was released. And this has a 2024 San Diego Comic-Con recolor version called Vintage Toy Hawaii, inspired by many color variations of toys exported to Hawaii in the 1970s. A few years back, Stern Pinball produced Godzilla pinball machines, while this year they collaborated with Super 7 to make these special variants. These are Stern Pinball-themed repaints. This is a case where I just couldn't open them because the card art is so awesome, and it is a huge part of this overall presentation. Moving to some more recent releases out of the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of good stuff. That includes a glowing variant of Anguirus, and a glowing variant of Baragon. It also includes this set recreating the infamous scene in Godzilla vs. Megalon where Jet Jaguar and Godzilla shake hands. This comes with a Godzilla 74 figure that appears to be exactly the same as the one in Wave 3, mold, paint, it's all the same. The Jet Jaguar is the Wave 1 Jet Jaguar again, but with arms that now go inward, like he's making an obscene gesture. But you can easily position him to recreate a satisfying handshake. You can make Jet shake hands with anyone. He's very polite. The Council of Jet Jaguars will see you now. Here are all the Jet Jaguars lined up. Now all I need is a Jet Jaguar doing an M pose and I'll have a full YMCA. The last Comic-Con exclusive I'll bring up is this, a reaction figure based on the Aurora Godzilla model from the early 1960s. This is one of the first pieces of Godzilla merch ever, and it's actually the first domino that led to the Murasan Godzilla we opened the show with. So we've gone full circle today. The box is a 10 out of 10. It is a great recreation and a fantastic homage. The figure is made to resemble a complete unpainted model. It's great to see a completely new sculpt, and this is very well done. It includes the base with the city and everything. This isn't a super accurate recreation. For me, the weird thing is that the positioning of the arms are very different. So it's kind of a struggle to make it look like it's in the same position as the real model. But overall, the figure does a great job evoking the model kit. I just really wish I can get the pose perfect. And of course, as I'm editing this, another wave of reaction figures for the Godzilla line was announced. This wave has the Godzilla 74 figure again, except the dorsal plates are different because this is the charged up version. It also brings a new Godzilla to the lineup. Godzilla 64 is now here. And the most exciting addition is the King Caesar. My boy's finally getting himself the reaction treatment. What kind of reactions would you like to see? I wouldn't mind some human characters from Godzilla movies one day. Imagine a Serizawa or a Namikawa reaction figure. And I'd be down if they would represent other eras of Godzilla movie history, like the Monsterverse, for example. But you guys know me. I'm hoping for things like Marvel Godzilla, Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, that kind of stuff that's really hard to get approved. It's a shame Super 7 didn't do a Dark Horse Godzilla reaction when they released their Ultimate version. Maybe one day. Anyway, tell me what you want to see, which ones you have, which ones you want, what you think about Super 7 Godzilla reaction figures in general. Until next time, which will probably be very soon. I simply must give a shout out to MrWest.com, a patron who has entered the Evil Buddies tier. Woo!
So I get to say your name, MrWest.com.